of Willie Goodwin, the chairman of the Arctic Waterways Safety Committee.
Without objection.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Appreciate that. And related to that, my first question is about indigenous peoples. I wanted to highlight a little bit more about their indigenous needs amidst the increased traffic of larger ships. You mentioned North Slope cooperation, but obviously transit is going north and then going presumably east or west. So how is the Coast Guard fully collaborating with indigenous groups in the U.S. Arctic to balance their sovereignty and subsistence hunting needs with the growing presence of larger vessels?
In fact, I know Mr. Goodwin, and thank you for your entering his statements. We pride ourselves on taking into account the perspective of the natives when it comes to the use of the oceans adjacent to the lands that they've occupied for centuries. And we go about it in multiple ways. But primarily with regards to the Bering Straits Port Access Route Study was a good example. That was specifically designed with the migration routes of the whales that they hunt, of the walruses, and other animals that they use for their lifestyle. And so we will do the same thing. We have started the initial phases of an Arctic Coast Port Access Route Study, which will take the same things into account. We also engage with the elders with regards to just how to operate in the Arctic. And, it's really an interesting situation to go up there as a person from the lower 48 and try to, provide value. It's an important thing to go up and respect them. And we preach this when we have instructional for our people that have never been to the Arctic. And we talk to them about the value of doing that and respecting what the others. Maybe it doesn't sound exactly that high tech, but it's really important. And so we take their input into effect with regards to any scheme that we propose. And these are schemes that will go in all the way to the International Maritime Organization. They have factored in the native perspective.
We take the same approach to Representative Young. How far along are you in putting together firmer operation plans in the Arctic? It sounds like you're doing some experimenting, but how much of this CONOPS is actually getting written into the Coast Guard's longer-term operation plans?
Well, the Arctic is a place that you don't operate. When you need to operate there, it's too late. You need to be planning now to operate there. Everything's harder. When you go north, it is hard. It's harder to fuel airplanes. It's harder to get airplanes started. It's harder to moor ships. It's harder to... Everything we do is dangerous, as the chairman talked about. That was in Homer, Alaska. That's far south compared to where I'm talking about operating. And so we send new coasties up there every year. We go up there in Arctic Shield, and they'll rotate. We have air crews. We have crews from multiple ships we send up there. We send people to Nome and other places to do commercial vessel inspections. And so all these people are learning how to operate in the Arctic. And it's a yearly thing that we do, and we surge it during the summer months when there's more activity, so we're more ready. So you get there, this operation is ongoing. Last year alone, we had 20 search and rescue cases, and the number that sticks to my mind is I think we had 35 lives saved. Now, some of this varied from caribou hunters out east of the North Slope to actual people in distress at sea. If we get a call, we'll go wherever it needs to be to look for them. So we're doing actual operations.
Yes. Would you assess that you're making now, you're at a point where you're making marginal changes, or you're still making larger changes to operation plans?
Well, the biggest
If you could wrap up, I got another question, so just make it quick.
Yes, sir. We are making marginal changes that will go along with capability.
All right. And finally, how does not being part of the Law of the Sea Treaty help or hinder Coast Guard sovereignty operations in the Arctic?
The Law of the Sea could help us moving forward, and multiple people believe it would be a significant help when it comes to rights over extended continental seabed and other issues. The Coast Guard operates as if we were a party to it, and thus far that has been effective for us.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Lowenthal.